Hello Capsuleer, my name is Gildy and welcome to EVE Online. The Blood Raiders and the Order of Saint Tetrimon are at it again. Crimson Harvest is here and will last till downtime at November 4th, bringing completely new sights compared to last time, change in mechanics, one that hasn't been around for years, and an interesting reward track. I am here to give you an overall rundown of what you can expect during the event and help those that might struggle getting their own fittings with my own ideas for most of the sites, both new and old. So what's in this event for us and what are the mechanics around it? First and foremost, we have a 29-day login reward track which ends with the last skill point bundle at day 24, so we got 5 days of buffer if it's the skill points you're after. This is a great move by CCP and something players have been asking for. Then, once you log in, you need to choose a faction to support, and it really doesn't matter which one you choose. The only difference in both reward tracks is the kind of combat boosters you get. Skins and all apparel stuff is identical. It seems that the reward track is quite easy this time around, with 900 points to collect, so it might be expanded by CCP during the event duration with stretch goals, but don't quote me on that. The reward track includes some skill points and up to 100 PLEX, so it's well worth going through it. You get points by either running the old style sites of the faction opposing to the one you choose, so if you went with Order of Tetrimon, you need to run the Crimson Gauntlets, and if you chose Blood Raiders, running the Tetrimon bases will give you points. You can run sites of both sides without issue, there is no penalty for that. You will just get the loot, not the points if you go with the wrong site. Other ways to get points is to run exploration sites. Once more of the enemy faction here, so Tetrimon network nodes if you chose Blood Raiders and Crimson Harvest network nodes if you chose Order of Tetrimon. Those types of sites once more have harder variants that spawn at Blood Raider controlled space in Delve and the Eugidi, Angils and Essin constellations if you are up for a challenge or want to hunt other capsuleers running them. This year, there is also a new type of more newbie-friendly sites, the Biocybernetic Incident sites, which come in 3 classes. I will give you a rundown of what I used to clear the sites I managed to figure out later in the video and give you proper walkthroughs for them, but first, what's the mechanics of the event? First and foremost, this year the 90% PvP drops are happening, but only since 10th of October and only in low sec and null sec. This means that gankers in high sec need to find another way of filling their pockets for extra ults this event. There is also an extra mechanic, however. There is a 50% chance your implants will drop when your pod is popped, so taking that security standings hit during fights might be worth it this time. And if you had a clone you haven't used for years and years, now might be the chance to go pop it with an ult for a chance of getting that jump clone slot back and maybe even some of the ISK from the implants themselves. And I am not responsible for the bad drops you may or may not have, do it at your own responsibility. Now that we have gone through the general information about the event, let's go over the sites. First in line, as it's the quickest to get through, hacking. Sites for both of the sides are level 3 of data variety, so they should be quite accessible for newer players when it comes to scanning them down. However, the hacks themselves are with red cores. For newer players, I would recommend getting a black glass implant for explorers without the tech to ship and tech to analyzer, because the cans do blow up without damaging you if you fail them twice. Fit for the Helios I use daily and which works great for this event will be together with all the fits in the video description, together with a Heron for newer players that I think will do pretty well. As you hack the cans, sometimes you might get a red shuttle warping in on you. That's normal. It will explode shortly afterwards and become a 4th rare spawning can which can get more loot for you. Loot from the sites is Overseer Sabik vials for Blood Raider sites, which have NPC buy orders all over space, 1 million per item, and Tetrimon sites drop Tetrimonic Workloan blanks, which have buy orders in NPC Delve, so selling them might be more difficult unless you take a loss and sell them in Jita. And Blood Raiders also buy them for 1 million apiece. Other loot from all sides is new event combat boosters, fireworks, ship skins, cerebral accelerators, and skinner elements. On to the old combat sites we all know and what changed in them since the last time. Crimson Gauntlets and Tetrimon bases are the sites for big ships with everyone and their uncle running them in Marauders. However, you do not need to follow the trend. Simply find a quiet piece of space, the further away from trade hubs the better, and I mean like 20 jumps minimum, as trade hubs and their closest vicinity is where most lazy Marauder runners and the gankers will be. And if you want to use a different ship, let me introduce you to my low-key fit. It's way under 1 billion ISK and it's nearly identical to the one I used for winter event last time. I simply added a battery to it rather than having a target painter. One of the ballistic control systems got swapped to a guidance enhancer for better application and range, and the Nosferatus from high slots, since I had the space, got swapped to small autocannons. They use no cap themselves and add extra 40 DPS on long range ammo, which you can use to slowly chip away at one of the frigates while you deal with bigger ships. It's not much, but I just wanted not to have empty slots there. Both sides are quite similar. 3 rooms, first having a shortcut to the third one if you had the keys to those drop you before. First room has just 1 wave of rats. Second room has 3 waves, but if you are prepared, around the time wave 2 is destroyed and wave 3 starts, you can take the unlocked gate. If you don't manage to do it, focus on the tackling rats and slide into third room as soon as those are gone. You don't have to full clear this room. Last part of the site got also changed a little. You now have 3 waves of rats. The boss battleship spawns with the third wave or at the end of it, so you might encounter a higher DPS pressure together with the news here. In general, I run both reps staggered when the pressure becomes higher. Once boss dies, site will not finish. There is a decloaked satellite dish that spawns that you need to destroy, which then ends the site. Main loot piñata is still the battleship. The extra structure there has a little bit of extra loot. Destroying the dish might lead to the site escalating. Tetrimon base escalates to Tetrimon garrison. Crimson Gauntlet escalates to Crimson Harvest Sanctuary. For these sites, the primary focus of the low-key should be the neutralizing ships to prevent any mishaps, though with a large battery it should be quite well on capacitor. In the Blood Raider sites, your newts are the Harvest Sage in an Ashimu cruiser and Harvest Shepherds in frigates. In Tetrimon bases, newts are the Tetrimon Curse cruiser and the Tetrimon Crucifier frigate. When it comes to the escalation sites, both of them are a single room 4-wave instances. On the 4th wave, around the end of it, a battleship warps in and needs to be destroyed, giving you a dead space site that no one can grab from you unless they combat scan you, which is a welcome little upgrade to having to run from site to site and race marauders constantly. Lastly, we have brand spanking new sites aimed at giving people more variety in the event and getting newbies into the event itself. This time, I got to admit, CCP did a great job at making sites that everyone can run. I remember one of the first attempts at newbie-friendly sites during one of the drone events, and it was a slaughter. Now, I tried those new ones, shared my fits with newbies, and it works and works well. There are 3 classes of the new Biocybernetic Incident site. Class 1 spawns in HighSec and it is intended for Tech 1 frigates, it's the newbie one. Class 2 spawns in all spaces and allows for Tech 1 and faction destroyers, Tech 2 frigates and lower. Those are the 2 classes of sites I managed to nail down and will be presenting here. Fits for those sites with Class 1 or 2 in the name will be in the video description. If you want to go even further beyond, Class 3 sites spawn in low-sec and null-sec and allow up to Tech 3 destroyers. All of those new sites have the same idea behind them. You take the gate, slide into the site and get inside of the circle here. You might need to enable large collidable objects on your overview if you want to see the limiters of the circle. Then you need to wait for the timer on the left side of the screen to go up to 600, at which point you don't have to stay within the circle, but instead go and destroy the squall boss. If you leave the circle before the squall spawns, you will have a few seconds to get back into it, or the site fails. Class 1 site will have just Ventures and Garmers spawn for you. Ventures dealing EM and thermal damage, Garmers pure EM damage, and the Squall deals 100% explosive damage type, so there is a spread of damage in the site. You need around 8 to 10 kilometers range on your ship because some Garmers are quite fast and will orbit you at around 8 kilometers. Other rats will rush to close in on you. During my tests, I found 3 types of Garmers in the site: Stalking, which webs you, Ravenous, which will newt your capacitor, and Enraged, which will target paint you. Other enemy here is the Venture, which is just pure DPS coming into the site. Then you have Shuttles. Those will warp out if you don't do anything to them, and need to be blown up to drop a little bit of extra loot for you. Another part of the site is 2 unstable generators. If you shoot them once, they will explode, resulting in killing of all the Ventures within their range, but they also deal massive amounts of damage to you. So if you end up popping them, make sure to keep over 4 kilometers range from them, and if you see a particularly big wave of Ventures warping in, as it might happen towards the end of the site, pop the generators to not have to deal with the rats. As I said before, once the timer reaches 600 points, a squall spawns. You need to get on top of it, blow it up, and loot it, as well as the shuttle wrecks. The loot that drops from the site mostly is the cybernetic items. Those, like all the other loot, sells to NPC buy orders all around HiSec, and you can get random drops in addition to that. For this site, I prepared and tested 3 fits to make it easier for you newbies out there to get into the event. We have a Rifter, Punisher, and a Rocket Kestrel. Class 2 site is nearly identical, it's just that you will have way more Ventures spawn, requiring more DPS to take them out on time, and making the DPS pressure on your ship a little bigger. Moreover, around 500 out of 600 point mark, an extra wave of 2 wings of Ventures, plus an Orpheus spawn. I keep my generators intact for that exact moment. Popping both while being out of their explosion range clears all the frigates and leaves for me only the Orpheus to destroy. For the Class 2 site, I tested out a Thrasher fit. EMP ammo goes a long way. Hail 1 in the fit is for the boss, just to speed up the resolution. If you want an easy mode for Class 2 site, going with assault frigates like the Hawk makes it nearly trivial. And that's all the information I gathered for you. Go out there, get rich running the sites, have some fun, and take a break from the usual grind to grind the event. If you managed to clear Class 3 sites, let me and others know what did it take and how's the loot in there. As usual, if you drop any comment under the video, add your in-game name to it. I will be choosing 3 random comments from under this video and give partner exclusive ship skins you see on the screen to the winners. Only original comments count, not answering to someone's comment. 2 more skins will be given away on my Discord server, link in the video description. Both giveaways will finish 5 days from this video being published. If you would like to support me, you can use my referral link in the video description to get 1 million skill points. I get a kickback from your first purchases in EVE Online store if you used my link. Other way without a cost to you is to use code GUILDY either on the EVE store or on the Market Dragon website. It supports me as I receive a small commission from the purchases done with the code. Lastly, if you want to have a badge next to your name when you comment, you can join the channel. Click the join button below the video to see the options. If you enjoyed the video, share it with a corp mate that might need it, leave a like and subscribe to see my future uploads. If you are interested in what I will talk about next, my videos go up on Sundays. And if we never see each other in space again, Capsulia, fly safe.